a very warm welcome. You're watching Newsnight with me, Raisha Seghal, and today's show is coming to you live from the Al Falah University. I'm standing right in front of the Al Falah University. It's situated right here, and this university has now become the epicenter of the investigation. That's after the Delhi terror blast at the Red Fort on November 10th, which of course claimed several innocent lives and injured many. Questions now emerge as to why and how this university where I'm standing, the Al Falah University, has now become the epicenter of the investigation, with the authorities, the officials, the National Investigative Agency, NIA, all perhaps are finding links of this university to the Delhi terror blast on November 10th. The big question tonight is the Al Falah University a university, a college where people come and study, or perhaps a breeding ground for terror? In the next 60 minutes or so, we will decode multiple angles in the Delhi 10/11 blast. Now, this university campus where I am standing has now become the epicenter of the investigation. We earlier told you about the 3 suspected terror doctors who are now under the scanner: Dr. Umar, Dr. Muzammil and Dr. Shaheen. Well, they all worked right here at the Al Falah University, and they were perhaps planning this bomb blast inside this university, building number 17, room number 13. This is where they used to meet and they used to discuss the bomb blast plans in Delhi. Now, the faculty members too are under the lens, and they are accused of perhaps sourcing chemicals from university labs and then transporting them to Dhauj and Taga for possible bomb making. Meanwhile, Al Falah University has also come under the scanner, not just from the ED, the EOW, the NIA, but also from NAC. NAC has now issued a show cause notice to the Al Falah University after it falsely displayed wrong information of this university on its websites.
The 10/11 blast probe is now centered around here. The Al Falah University in Faridabad, near the capital. This is where Dr. Shaheen, Dr. Umar, Dr. Muzammil hatched the terror conspiracy. NDTV has accessed images from inside the Al Falah campus. It is here at building number 17, room number 13, that Dr. Muzammil would hold meetings. It's here that the 3 doctors plotted to carry out a big strike. Sources tell NDTV the doctors planned to plant 32 car bombs and a big strike on 6 December, the anniversary of the Babri Masjid demolition. The plan was to trigger coordinated serial blasts in Delhi and Uttar Pradesh. The doctors of terror pooled in 26 lakh rupees and handed it to Dr. Umar, the Red Fort serial bomber. Faculty members at the university allegedly acquired chemicals from the lab that were used to make explosive material.
डॉक्टर शाहीन सईद जो है वो अपनी जो क्लासेस थी वो क्लासेस में भी जो अटेंडेंस लगती थी वो अटेंडेंस नहीं लगाती थी, और ये कहा जाता है कि वो जब उनके जो हेड्स तक भी हैं वो भी कई बार उन्होंने शिकायत कर दी है कि ये बिल्कुल अनुशासन में नहीं रहती थी, ये अलग ही तरीके से रहती थी, अब कोई अपनी बात किसी की भी नहीं मानती थी, सिर्फ अपनी ही मानती थी। शाहीन सईद है वो ये तक भी उन्होंने कहा है अपने ही कुलीगों से कि मेरा तो यहाँ पे सिर्फ कुछ ही टाइम वक्त, मैं तो अपना टाइम एक तरीके से गुजार रही हूँ, असल जो मेरी जो वक्त होता है जो काम करती हूँ वो मैं 4 बजे के बाद करती हूँ।
Top government sources have told NDTV that the government has ordered an enforcement directorate probe into the funding of Al Falah University. Financial investigation agencies have now swung into action. A forensic audit of the university's accounts has also been ordered. The Economic Offences Wing has been asked to examine the functioning of the university as well. With Anushka Garg in Faridabad, NDTV Bureau Report.
And now my colleague Ali will take you inside the Al Falah University campus. NDTV is the only channel to report from inside the Al Falah University and will tell you more about what lies inside the Al Falah University right now.
एनडीटीवी इस वक्त में अल फलाह यूनिवर्सिटी के अंदर आ चुका है और आपको बता दूं कि हमने जो अंदर से पता करी हैं बातें वो इतनी बड़ी चीज़ है जो आप ज़रूर सुन के ही चौंक जाएंगे। आपको बता दें जो डॉक्टर शाहीन सईद है उसने जो एक शिफ्ट कार जो की थी उससे तो ज़रूर पकड़ में आई थी जिसको AK-47 में मिली थी, लेकिन अभी ही दिवाली के वक्त में शाहीन सईद ने एक और कार ली थी जो ब्रेज़ा है। जो ब्रेज़ा उसके रेजिडेंट अभी जहाँ पर वो रहती है वहीं पर ही वो ब्रेज़ा कार है अभी भी मौजूद, जहाँ पर क्योंकि इन्वेस्टिगेशन में अभी तक उसकी जो जांच वाच सब चीज़ हो गई लेकिन वो अभी तक वहीं है। दूसरी चीज़ ये पता चली है कि जो डॉक्टर शाहीन सईद जो है वो अपनी जो क्लासेस थी वो क्लासेस में भी जो अटेंडेंस लगती थी वो अटेंडेंस नहीं लगाती थी और ये कहा जाता है कि वो जब उनके जो हेड तक भी हैं वो भी कई बार उन्होंने शिकायत कर दी है कि इनकी कि ये बिल्कुल अनुशासन में नहीं रहती थी, ये अलग ही तरीके से रहती थी, अब कोई अपनी बात किसी की भी नहीं मानती थी, सिर्फ अपनी ही मानती थी और इस वजह से उनकी शिकायत तक भी ऊपर तक गई है, चेयरमैन तक गई है और उस चेयरमैन की वजह से उनको फ़ौरन नोटिस भी होना चाहिए था लेकिन वो नहीं हुआ। जबकि एक दूसरी चीज़ ये भी आ रही है कि जो प्रिंसिपल हैं यानी वाइस चांसलर जो है जो खुद डॉक्टर कौर हैं वो उन तक पे भी शिकायतें गई हैं कि ये वो बिल्कुल अनुशासन नहीं मानती हैं, कि क्लासेस में वो इंटरेस्ट नहीं लेती हैं। इनफैक्ट ये भी हमें पता चला कि जो शाहीन सईद हैं वो ये तक भी उन्होंने कहा है अपने ही कुलीगों से कि मेरा तो यहाँ पे सिर्फ कुछ ही टाइम वक्त, मैं तो अपना टाइम एक तरीके से गुजार रही हूँ, असल जो मेरी जो वक्त होता है जो काम करती हूँ वो मैं 4 बजे के बाद करती हूँ। तो ये सोचिए इतनी बड़ी बड़ी चीज़ें और जो अब डॉक्टर शाहीन सईद की जगह पे अब एक और प्रोफेसर है उनकी भी नियुक्ति यहाँ पे कर दी गई है और वो भी अब क्लासेस स्टार्ट करेंगी। और आपको बता दें कि ये जो डॉक्टर शाहीन सईद के बारे में एक और ये बात पता चली कि इन 2 महीने के अंदर में भी सिर्फ और सिर्फ उन्होंने एक ही दिन क्लास ली थी जो वहाँ के छात्र हैं उनकी। तो ये सारी की सारी चीज़ें हैं जो साफ तौर पर नज़र आती हैं। लेकिन और इसमें जो सबसे बड़ा पॉइंट आया वो ये आया कि जो डॉक्टर मुजम्मिल हैं वो हमेशा डॉक्टर शाहीन के घर पर जाते थे, जो 5 नंबर बिल्डिंग है वहाँ पे उनका घर है 3rd फ्लोर पे, वहाँ पे वो जाते थे और जाके वो जो मुजम्मिल था वो मुजम्मिल वहाँ पे उसकी जो कार थी स्विफ्ट कार वो उसी कार से ही वो ज़रूर जाता था उनके शाहीन सईद के पास और वहीं पे जाके वो क्या लेके जाता था, कभी वो बताते हैं लोग कभी खाना भी लेके जाता था, कुछ ना कुछ उसके थैले में होता था और कब निकलता था ये इसके बारे में पता नहीं चल पाता था और बहुत ही देर तक भी यहाँ बात होती थी। ये सारी चीज़ें वहीं मुजम्मिल जो हैं वो उनकी जो 7 नंबर बिल्डिंग है वहाँ पर रहते हैं वहीं पर। तो ये सारी की सारी चीज़ हैं जो बहुत ही बड़ी चीज़ है जो साफ तौर पे एनडीटीवी आपको एक्सक्लूसिव बता रहा है और यही आपको सबसे पहले एनडीटीवी के ज़रिए पता चली। मैं अली अब्बास नकवी एनडीटीवी के लिए।
Well, according to investigators, there are a total of 4 cars which are under the scanner, which are, of course, the Hyundai i20, Swift Desire, Maruti Brezza, and the red EcoSport. Remember, all these 3 suspected terror doctors, they were planning a series of bomb blasts here in Delhi, and the investigators alleged module of doctors planned 32 car bombs. That's the number, 32 car bombs on December 6th here in India's national capital, New Delhi. A 4th car has now been traced and found at the Al Falah University, which allegedly used, that 4th car was allegedly used by the suspects.
Following the explosion of a white Hyundai i20 near Delhi's Red Fort metro station, investigators have uncovered a far deeper terror plot involving not 1 but 4 cars used by the suspects. The first, a Maruti Swift Desire belonging to Dr. Shaheen but used by Dr. Muzammil, was the car from which weapons were first seized. The second, a white Hyundai i20, was the vehicle that exploded, triggering the alarm. A red Ford EcoSport linked to the suspected bomber Dr. Umar was found abandoned at a farmhouse in Haryana's Khandavali village. Police tracked it down with the help of Umar's driver. Investigators believe this car was used to transport and stockpile ammonium nitrate over several weeks. And the fourth, a Maruti Brezza, also owned by Shaheen, was originally meant to carry the explosive device, but the plan changed at the last moment. According to NIA and Delhi police sources, This network of doctors and professionals had been conducting multiple recce's across Delhi and NCR. The group was allegedly planning a series of coordinated blasts, awaiting final orders from its handlers when the module was busted. Sources have also said that the module planned to buy over 30 cars to be used in the coordinated attack that was planned across Delhi NCR. NDTV Bureau Report.
All right, here NDTV, we have been telling you about the terror doctors who are under the scanner. Dr. Umar, Dr. Muzammil, Dr. Shaheen. There was also a Jaish recruiter called Jameel. But in this next story, we will tell you about the Shaheen files. We will tell you about Dr. Shaheen Shahid, who has emerged to be the epicenter, the prime face of this terror blast here in Delhi on November 10th. And investigators have now told us that Dr. Shaheen, who is a woman doctor, was allegedly tasked with setting up the women's wing of Jaish-e-Mohammed, and she was picked up from Kanpur. She was arrested from Kanpur. As per sources, Dr. Shaheen was receiving funds from Jaish-e-Mohammed. She was in constant touch with Masood Azhar's family. By that I mean Masood Azhar's sister. So Dr. Shaheen was in touch with Masood Azhar's sister. Remember, Masood Azhar is the terrorist, the mastermind behind the 26/11 terror attack here in India. Sources also add that Dr. Shaheen was involved in opening recruitment centers of Jaish-e-Mohammed, not just here in New Delhi, but also in the neighboring state of Uttar Pradesh, Saharanpur.
As the probe in the Delhi blast gathers space and widens, new and sinister layers are emerging on one of the prime members of the Jaish Faridabad module, Dr. Shaheen Saeed, the woman tasked with Jaish-e-Mohammed to set up a women's wing in India. The Al-Falah doctor, NDTV has learned, was in touch with Jaish founder Maulana Masood Azhar's niece, Afira Bibi, who is believed to be her handler. Agency sources say she also regularly received funds. At the defamed university, her colleagues remember Shaheen as a strange woman who told colleagues that her real work began after 4 p.m., that is after university hours. As NDTV entered the Al-Falah campus, our team learnt that Shaheen had her cubicle moved to a private space as she feared others could overhear her conversations. She also had a reputation for indiscipline at the varsity as she took only one class in 2 months, and that the principal regularly got complaints about her conduct. Sources have also told NDTV that she was very close to Dr. Muzammil, from whom 2,900 kilos of explosive material was seized, and that he would frequent Shaheen's home on campus. Muzammil also drove Shaheen's Desire car from which ammunition was recovered. Shaheen's new Brezza car that she had bought recently has been found at the Al-Falah campus and is part of the terror probe. A resident of Lucknow's Lal Bagh, Shaheen was arrested on Monday, hours before a panicked fourth member of the terror cell, Umar, exploded the I-20 car near Red Fort. Bureau Report, NDTV.
Well, NDTV has accessed Jaish's multi-phase plot to target the national capital with a series of blasts, like I mentioned, not just one, but at least they were planning 32 car bombs here in India's national capital. And during interrogation, members of the Jaish Doctor module have perhaps revealed a structured, a phase-wise module that they were planning with the bomb blast to take place here in India's national capital, New Delhi. Our next report telling you more.
The deadly November 10 attack in the national capital was just the beginning of a deadlier conspiracy. NDTV has accessed exclusive details of a deadly Jaish terror plot. A 5-phase serial blast plot that could have unleashed serial blasts across Delhi. What was seen as one car blast in the heart of Delhi was in fact part of a multi-layered sinister plan Intel sources have revealed the plan to carry out serial bombings across Delhi began months in advance. Phase 1 was the formation of the Jaish-Ansar module, a white-collar terror group that included doctors, 3 of whom were associated with Al-Falah University. Phase 2 was the procurement of raw materials. NDTV tracked down the shop where Muzammil purchased fertilizers and chemicals intended for the use in explosives. Phase 3 was making lethal chemical explosives and finalization of targets. Sources told NDTV that the explosives were being made inside Al-Falah University campus. The module also conducted target recce across Delhi. Phase 4 entailed distribution of the assembled bombs among module members. Phase 5, the final execution plan. 6 to 7 locations were identified for synchronized explosions. These explosions, which were initially planned for August 2025, later got postponed to December 6th. The rescheduled date for the blast was to coincide with the Babri Masjid demolition anniversary. But then the arrest of the Faridabad module derailed the Jaish terror plot. On the same day of the arrest, terror Dr. Umar in an I-20 orchestrated the Red Fort blast. Bureau Report, NDTV.
Well, the Jaish module that plotted the 10-11 Delhi blast. Let's now tell you how this Jaish module were talking to each other. How were their conversations taking place? They were perhaps using an encrypted chat app. Sources have told NDTV that Dr. Umar, Dr. Muzammil and Dr. Shaheen, all of them were in constant contact through this app called, it's an encrypted platform called Threema. Threema is the app which all these 3 suspected terror doctors were using. Investigators believe that the trio used the Threema app to plan and coordinate the terror activities. Our next report explains what perhaps makes Threema different and how this app, Threema, does not require any photo ID, does not perhaps require any email ID, perhaps making users extremely difficult to trace. More details about this Threema app in our next report.
The sinister Delhi plot is unraveling. Faridabad's terror module built its terror plan on the campus of Al-Falah University in Haryana. The terror doctors communicated using the Threema app to plan attacks. Al-Falah's doctors coordinated their activities on Threema. Umar, Muzammil, Shaheen created their own private Threema server. The 3 doctors shared terror documents on the app. Threema was also used for task allocation and voice communication. Threema allows a blanket of anonymity for its users. The users use Threema without providing a phone number or email address, identified only by a randomly generated Threema ID. All communication, including text messages, voice, video calls, group chats and file transfers remain end-to-end encrypted. Messages are deleted from servers immediately after delivery and metadata collection is strictly avoided. As investigators peel back the layers of this chilling plot, a disturbing pattern emerges. A network of educated minds exploiting encrypted platforms to spread terror. The Threema app, once a tool for privacy, was turned into a weapon of secrecy, shielding plans of terror in its security. Bureau Report, NDTV.
Let's now tell you about the calendar of how things took place on November 10th. Now, the Dr. Umar, the prime suspect, he entered Red Fort at 3:19 p.m. and he exited at 6:28 p.m. for about 3 hours. 3 hours he was inside his Hyundai i20 and he did not exit the car. Questions are of course being raised if he had second thoughts or if he was perhaps waiting for a go ahead. And well, Dr. Umar, he is the prime suspect who was rather believed to have triggered the Red Fort car blast on November 10th. The ongoing investigation has revealed that during this time, he did not step outside of the car. Like I mentioned, a lot of questions being raised if he was having second thoughts about the bomb blast at Red Fort, or was he waiting for a go-ahead? Our next report telling you more.
November 10th, at about 8 a.m., a white Hyundai i20 quietly begins its journey from Al Falah University in Faridabad. For 11 hours, it creeps through Delhi's arteries, crossing the Badarpur toll, skirting Mayur Vihar, weaving past Connaught Place. At 3:19 p.m., the car enters a parking lot beside the Red Fort. There, it stays. 3 hours. Inside, the driver, identified as Umar Mohammed, never leaves the vehicle, never steps out. He waits. Then, at 6:28 p.m., he drives out onto Netaji Subhash Marg, a red signal, a crowded junction near the Red Fort Metro. And then, the explosion. 9 dead, over 20 injured. Investigators say the reason for this long wait could have been that the Red Fort was closed on that Monday. It is usually closed every Monday. The original plan was to target the visitor parking lot, busy, symbolic, high impact. Instead, what they got was no crowd. He waited, then panic set in. The device, reportedly hastily detonated, had lesser impact than planned. CCTV footage traces the car's path through over 1,000 cameras. His phone switched off 10 days earlier. No contact. A burner? Was he waiting for instructions? Or did the discovery of security breach force a change? Behind the blast lies a chilling reminder. Even the best laid terror plans falter on a simple calendar error. And for a second of waiting, there can be a lifetime of consequences. In the heart of Delhi, amid history and tourists and everyday chaos, a quiet vehicle sat, ticking time. And when it finally moved, lives were lost in a crash zone of terror. We must remember the waiting, the planning, and the narrow margin between plan and devastation. Sejal Gupta for NDTV.
Well, amid the probe on the Delhi terror blast, which took place on November 10th, Union Home Minister Amit Shah, he rather chaired a high-level meeting, a security meeting with NSA Ajit Doval here in New Delhi. Today, at an event, Union Home Minister Amit Shah also expressed his deepest condolences to the families of those killed in the Delhi car blast on November 10th. And he clearly said that the punishment will be given, surely will be given to the perpetrators, and that will perhaps send a loud and a clear message to the world that India will not tolerate any kind of terrorism or any kind of such attacks. Remember, after Operation Sindoor, Prime Minister Modi had clearly outlined India's policy towards terrorism and had clearly said that diplomacy and terror will not go hand in hand. It was the same message that was perhaps asserted and outlined by the Union Home Minister Amit Shah. Now, this meeting, which Shah chaired today, comes after a high-level cabinet meeting, which was chaired by Prime Minister Modi yesterday. That's directly after he landed from Bhutan. Of course, Amit Shah was also present there, and both the leaders, they've passed a resolution condemning that terror attack will not be tolerated here in India, and perhaps further outlining India's zero tolerance towards any kind of terror. Let's also now tell you about the politics which has emerged after the 10/11 Delhi blast. Former Union Home Minister P. Chidambaram's remarks, they are now pointing to perhaps a discreet silence from the centre on the threat of homegrown terror. In a post on X, he has perhaps had sharp reaction. He has drawn sharp reaction from the BJP. P. Chidambaram took to X on Wednesday and flagged his concern over rise in homegrown terror. And he has said that there are two kinds of terrorists: foreign trained infiltrators, that's on one hand, the foreign trained infiltrators, and on the other hand, the second kind are the homegrown terrorists. He said that he had mentioned this after the Pahalgam attack happened this year, but he was rather mocked for the same. Now, BJP has accused the Congress of giving soft support and cover fire to terrorists, and that Congress has once again chosen vote bank over national interest. Congress Chief Mallikarjun Kharge has called for a full central probe on this. He said that Congress would raise the matter in the upcoming winter session of Parliament. So that's the gist of how politics has yet again erupted even after the 10/11 Delhi terror blast.
चिदम्बरम जो ट्वीट किए हैं ये तो सीधा सीधी आतंकवादियों का समर्थन किया। कभी कभी इन सुरक्षा कर्मियों की भी तारीफ किया करे जिसने इतने बड़े हादसे को बचा लिया। अगर देश के अंदर किसी ने आतंकवाद को जन्म दिया, तुष्टीकरण किया, ये नेहरू से लेकर के मनमोहन सिंह की सरकार तक कांग्रेस ने देश को बर्बाद करने का काम किया है। कभी कभी देश हित की बात किया करे।
पश्चिम एशिया में जैसे अफगानिस्तान है और आसपास के देशों में इस तरह की गतिविधियां होने लगी हैं, तो अब इसका ग्लोबल इफेक्ट है। होता क्या है कि अखबार के माध्यम से, सोशल मीडिया के माध्यम से, आने जाने से तो ये एक प्रभावित तो कर ही रही है। तो पहले लोकलाइज हुआ करता था, अब रीजनल ही नहीं बल्कि ग्लोबल हो रहा है इन चीजों का। तो इंटरलिंक्ड है, होम ग्रोन है, तो उसका प्रभाव तो कहीं न कहीं से आता है ना भाई।
कार ब्लास्ट जो होना था, हादसा जो हुआ है, नहीं होना चाहिए था। हमको आश्चर्य क्या है, ये बॉम्ब ब्लास्ट जो हुआ है 10 तारीख को हुआ है, 11 तारीख को चुनाव है बिहार के अंदर। अभी आप भी देखे होंगे हमारा कड़ा माध्यम के अंदर वो लोग बोल रहे थे कुछ पॉलिटिकल है क्या करके। हमको भी ये सुनने को आ रहा है। ये दिल्ली कैपिटल में हुआ है। अमित शाह उसका जवाब देना चाहिए। इंटेलिजेंस फेलियर, IB फेलियर।
ಆ ಮೂರ್ಖ ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ ಪಕ್ಷದವರು ಕೇಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಇಚ್ಛೆ ಪಡ್ತೇನೆ, ಸ್ವಾತಂತ್ರ್ಯ ಬಂದಾಗಿನಿಂದ ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ ಘಟನೆಗಳು ನಡೆದಿದ್ದಾವೆ ಅದೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಕೂಡ ಅವಲೋಕನ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ ಪಕ್ಷದ ಹಿರಿಯ ನಾಯಕರುಗಳು ಎಷ್ಟು ಸಲ ಕೈಗೆ ಬಳೆನ ಹಾಕೋಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು ಒಂದು ಕ್ಷಣ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿ ನೋಡಿ. ಬಳೆ ಹಾಕೋದಲ್ಲ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ ಪಕ್ಷದವರು ಒಂದು ಬಳೆ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ರಿನೇ ತೆರಿಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಅಷ್ಟು ಬಾರಿ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಉಗ್ರಗಾಮಿ ಚಟುವಟಿಕೆಗಳಿಗೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಪ್ರಾಣವನ್ನ ತೆತ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಯೋಧರು ಕೂಡ ಪ್ರಾಣವನ್ನ ತೆತ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಭಾರತೀಯರು ಕೂಡ ಪ್ರಾಣವನ್ನ ಕಳೆದುಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಹುಡುಗಾಟಿಕೆ ಮಾಡೋದನ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ದೇಶ ಒಟ್ಟಾಗಿ ಒಂದಾಗಿ ಆಲೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಂದ್ರ ಸರ್ಕಾರಕ್ಕೆ, ಪ್ರಧಾನಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳಿಗೆ, ಗೃಹ ಸಚಿವರಿಗೆ ಬಲವನ್ನು ಕೊಡುವಂತ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಬೇಕೇ ವಿನಃ ಈ ರೀತಿ ದೇಶದ್ರೋಹದ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನ ಮಾಡಬಾರದು ಅನ್ನೋ ಮಾತನ್ನು ನಾನು ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಇಚ್ಛಪಡ್ತೇನೆ.
ನಿಷ್ಪಕ್ಷಪಾತ ನಿರ್ಣಯ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಮತ್ತು ಎನ್ಕ್ವೈರಿ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಎನ್ಕ್ವೈರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಬರ್ತದೋ ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಕಠಿಣವಾದಂಥ ಶಿಕ್ಷೆ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟವರಿಗೆ. ಇದು ಯಾರ ಮೇಲೂ ಕೂಡ, ಅಂದರೆ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಇದು ತೋರಿಸ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದಿಲ್ಲ, ಅಂದರೆ ದಾಕ್ಷಿಣ್ಯ. ಯಾರು ತಪ್ಪು ಮಾಡಿದಾರೋ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಶಿಕ್ಷೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಬೇರೆಯವರು ಕೂಡ ನಾಳೆ ಭಯಪಡಬೇಕು, ಇಂಥ ಕೆಲಸ ನಾವು ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂಥೇಳಿ ಅದು ಒಂದು ಇದು ಆಗಬೇಕು, ಅವರಿಗೆ ಹೆದರಿಕೆ ಬರಬೇಕು. ಮತ್ತು ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಇಂಥ ಘಟನೆಗಳ ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗ್ತಾವಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು दुर्दैव संगति।
जो लोग वंदे मातरम नहीं गाते हैं वो लोग कभी भी भारतीय नहीं हो सकता है। अगर आप भारतीय नहीं हो सकता है कभी भी, आप भारत माँ को माँ नहीं समझ सकते हैं। तो इसीलिए हमें निरंतर सतर्क रहना चाहिए। और ये जो बात हमें बताया गया था कि एडुकेशन होने से सब कुछ ठीक हो जाएगा, वो नहीं। एडुकेटेड होने से वो लोग और ज्यादा बम बनाएगा। अगर मन में खोट है तो एडुकेटेड होने से भी वो लोग खराब काम ही करेगा। एडुकेटेड होने का गारंटी ये नहीं है कि वो अच्छा काम ही करेगा।
जम्मू कश्मीर का हर बाशिंदा आतंकवादी नहीं है। जम्मू कश्मीर का हर बाशिंदा आतंकवादियों के साथ भी नहीं है। ये चंद लोग हैं जिन्होंने हमेशा यहां अमन और भाईचारे को बिगाड़ने की कोशिश की है। बदकिस्मती से जब हम हर जम्मू कश्मीर के बाशिंदे को और बिलखसूस हर कश्मीरी मुसलमान को एक ही नजरिए से देखना शुरू करते हैं और ये तासुर देना शुरू करते हैं कि हर कश्मीरी मुसलमान जो है वो आतंकवादी है। ये कहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है कि पढ़े लिखे लोग जो हैं वो इन चीजों में नहीं पढ़ते हैं। मैं तो हैरान इस बात से हूं कि उसको इन चीजों के लिए नौकरी से निकाला गया था, लेकिन उसके बाद कौन सी इन्वेस्टिगेशन हुई? नौकरी से तो आपने निकाला, लेकिन कार्रवाई क्या हुई?
ये सच है कि आतंकवाद अमन और तरक्की के लिए सबसे बड़ा खतरा है और इसका दुश्मन वही है। ये अवाम में न सिर्फ नफरत और हिंसा फैलाता है, बल्कि अवाम के भाईचारे और अवाम की एकता को भी कमजोर करता है। आतंकवाद ने 3 दशकों तक जम्मू कश्मीर के नौजवानों का जीवन बर्बाद किया है, बल्कि मैं मानता हूं यहाँ के नौजवानों का सबसे बड़ा दुश्मन यही आतंकवाद और इसका इकोसिस्टम रहा है। आज हमारा नौजवान अपने ड्रीम, अपने एस्पिरेशंस पूरे कर रहा है और यह बात पड़ोसी मुल्क और उनके कुछ सहयोगी आतंकी तत्वों को रास नहीं आ रही है।
Well, here on NDTV, we have been getting you ground report for the past 72 hours. And of course, this is an ongoing investigation. This is just perhaps the beginning. Nothing is set in stone yet, because these are the early days. There's lots to unravel. We saw that the NIA has taken over the investigation here. The ED, the EOW, they are also now probing the links of this university where I'm standing, the Al-Falah University, to the Delhi terror probe. Now, nothing perhaps happens overnight here. We on NDTV, we have been telling you the meticulous planning that took place between Dr. Umar, Dr. Muzammil and Dr. Shaheen. There was also a Jaish recruiter called Jamil, and how they were planning the bomb blast, a series of blasts here in New Delhi on December 6th. 35 car bombs is what they had planned. Of course, that has been thwarted. But our next report gives you a summary, a gist of all that has happened, where the investigation stands right now, and what's to come.
Posters in Srinagar, Jammu and Kashmir. A doctor arrested in Saharanpur, Uttar Pradesh. Another doctor picked up from Al-Falah Hospital in Faridabad, Haryana. A huge cache of explosives, some sophisticated arms and ammunitions also recovered. And then a slow-moving hatchback explodes near the Red Fort, Delhi. The blast on the evening of 10th of November 2025 claimed multiple lives. The security clampdown was immediate. Police began random checks at markets, metro stations, railway terminals and bus stands. Authorities ordered strict monitoring of light-flying vehicles and increased drone surveillance, especially over the Delhi NCR region. At the interstate borders, Ghazipur, Singhu, Tikri and Badarpur, any suspicious movement was being tracked. Not just in Delhi, but security got tightened across large areas of the country. The India-Nepal border was sealed. Mumbai was put on high alert. In Jammu and Kashmir, the police detained more than 100 people. The Uttar Pradesh ATS conducted raids across Lucknow, Saharanpur, Shamli and Muzaffarnagar. Police sources confirmed that the car explosion could be linked to raids on a suspected terror cell and the seizure of 3 tons of explosives in Faridabad hours before the blast. Investigators zeroed in on a Pulwama-based doctor, Omar Nabi, who was driving the car used in the explosion. A week before the blast, Dr. Omar U. Nabi reportedly had fled his workplace, the Al Falah School of Medical Sciences and Research Center in Faridabad. This had followed the arrest of Omar's friend and colleague, Dr. Muzammil Shakil. The Jammu and Kashmir police in October had been probing posters put up around Srinagar, praising the terror group Jaish-e-Mohammed and threatening revenge attacks against India. Several people were arrested, and following leads, the J&K police landed at Al Falah Hospital in Faridabad and arrested Muzammil on 30th of October. On 1st of November, Dr. Muzammil was sent to police custody for 15 days. And on 2nd of November, under interrogation, he revealed the names of the other doctors in the module. Among the suspects in custody are 3 doctors: Shaheen Saeed, Muzammil Shakil Ganale, and Adil Rathar. Dr. Omar Nabi is believed to be the suicide bomber who died in the blast on November 10th. Other doctors who worked alongside Dr. Saeed at the Al Falah University in Faridabad have also been detained and are being questioned to see if they have any link with the terror module. The conspiracy in Delhi had been underway since January and had been planning some attack for months. According to investigative sources, the group had been preparing 200 powerful improvised explosive devices, IEDs, to target high-profile areas in and around Delhi. Being doctors, they could easily move around NCR without raising suspicion. They rented rooms in Dhauj and Fatehpur Taga areas in Faridabad, Haryana, to store the explosives. Dr. Muzammil and Dr. Omar Nabi are said to have surveyed the Red Fort area on multiple occasions. Their movements verified through mobile tower location data and CCTV footage collected from the area. Police said these findings indicate the two had been studying security arrangements and crowd density patterns. Officials believe these visits may have been part of a reconnaissance ahead of a planned attack on Republic Day 2025, but it was eventually abandoned due to heightened security. The alleged terror cell wanted to carry out a series of attacks in Delhi on the lines of the 26/11 Mumbai attacks. They had planned a Diwali blast at a crowded location, but even that did not materialize. Investigators are now examining digital communications, funding routes, and possible links to suppliers of explosives used in the Delhi car blast. Data from the involved doctors' phones are being analyzed to determine who they were in contact with. Police are focusing on identifying financiers and logistical facilitators connected to the module. Late in the evening of Tuesday, Delhi police handed over all documents and FIR related to the Delhi blast case to the NIA. After receiving the documents, the NIA has formally taken over the investigation.
Right, on that note, we slip into a very short break. This was the News Night coverage live from outside the Al Falah University. Come right back. Lots lined up for you here on NDTV 24/7.